Have you ever looked at someone who's, completely mastered an instrument or built an incredible business, and you just think, how on earth did they do that? Well, the answer isn't some big, flashy moment of genius. It's actually way quieter than that. It's hidden in the small things they do every single day. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you how these tiny, consistent actions are the real secret to unlocking massive long-term change.
So, here's the game plan for today. We're going to kick things off with the incredible power of those tiny habits, then we'll break down the difference between good and bad ones, and from there, we'll dive right into the nitty-gritty of how you can actually build better habits that really, truly stick. All right, let's jump right into section 1, the power of tiny habits. And this is where we get to the core idea, which, honestly, is a little bit of a mind bender. See, the path to achieving something huge doesn't start with some giant heroic leap. No, it starts with one small step taken over and over and over again. I want you to think about a big goal you have right now. Come on, what is it? Maybe it's learning a new language, or getting in shape, or finally starting that side project you've been dreaming about. It can feel totally overwhelming, right? Like you're staring up at a mountain. And the biggest question is usually, where do I even begin? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. It all comes down to one powerful thing, the habit. A habit is just a small action you repeat so often it becomes automatic. You don't even have to think about it. This isn't about having superhuman willpower. It's just about simple, boring repetition. And these tiny, automatic actions, they become the bedrock, the very foundation of any big achievement. And this is where it gets really exciting. It's the compounding effect. Just look at this number, 3,650. What is that? Well, that's how many minutes of practice you'd get in a single year if you just committed to a tiny 10 minutes a day. That's over 60 hours. It just goes to show you that these small daily investments, they pay off with incredible returns over time. But here's the catch. That compounding power, it works both ways. So to really use it to our advantage, we've got to understand the difference between the habits that build us up and the ones that tear us down. And that brings us right to section 2, good habits versus bad habits. On the surface, it's pretty straightforward, right? Good habits are the ones that help create a better future you, like reading a chapter before bed instead of scrolling. Bad habits, on the other hand, often give us that little hit of instant pleasure right now, but at the expense of our future selves. Like hitting the snooze button for the 5th time. The thing is, we all have a mix of both.
It's interesting when you think about the words we use. We always talk about breaking a bad habit. And that word is just perfect, isn't it? It implies force, like you're literally snapping a chain that's been holding you back. You're interrupting a pattern that's been running for a long, long time.
But on the flip side, you don't break a good habit, you build one. And I love this visual because it's so true. It's a constructive process. You're laying one brick, one small action at a time until you've created something solid, something strong and supportive in your life. Okay, so we get what habits are, and we know why they're so important. But the real question is, how do we actually start building the good ones and breaking the bad ones? Well, that's exactly what Section 3 is all about, giving you a simple, practical framework for real, lasting change. It turns out every single habit you have, good or bad, follows this exact same 3-step pattern called the habit loop. First, you've got the cue. That's the trigger. Then comes the routine, the action itself. And finally, the reward, that little bit of positive feeling you get. Think about it. Your phone buzzes. That's the cue. You pick it up and scroll. That's the routine. The reward? A little hit of distraction. Understanding this loop is the absolute key to hijacking it for your own good. And this leads us to something absolutely crucial. Motivation is great for getting started. It's like a rocket launch, super exciting, super powerful, but that fuel eventually runs out. Systems, on the other hand, are like a sturdy bridge. They're built on discipline, and they will carry you across those dips in motivation, making sure you keep going even on the days you really don't feel like it. Lasting change is built on systems, not feelings. So what are the actual rules of the game? Here are the fundamentals. First, start ridiculously small. Second, focus on being consistent, not intense. Track your progress so you can actually see how far you've come. And maybe the most important rule of all, forgive yourself. If you miss a day, it's not a disaster. The goal isn't perfection. It's just to get back on track the next day. This quote says it all, really. Consistency is key. It's not about being perfect, it's about showing up. Just let that sink in for a minute. The game isn't won by the people who never mess up. It's won by the people who just keep showing up, day after day. Imperfect action, repeated daily, will always beat perfect action that only happens once in a blue moon.
All right, enough theory. Let's make this super concrete. How does all this stuff actually apply in the real world? For our case study, let's tackle a goal so many of us have, learning a new skill.
So check this out. To learn a new language, for example, you don't need to lock yourself away and study for 4 hours straight. No way. Instead, you just build 5 small, daily habits. Listen to a podcast on your commute. Say a few new phrases out loud in the shower. Read 1 page of a book. Write 1 single sentence. It's the daily repetition of these tiny acts that builds momentum and eventually gets you to fluency. Here is a simple but, oh man, such a powerful hack. Engineer your environment. Just make your good habits the easiest possible choice. If you want to read more, put the book on your pillow. I mean, you literally have to move it to get into bed. You're removing the friction, making the right choice the easy choice. Now, this technique, habit stacking, is an absolute game changer. You simply anchor a new habit you want to do onto an established habit you already do without thinking. Your brain is already wired to brush your teeth every morning, so by linking reading 1 page to it, the old habit becomes the trigger for the new one. It's like a cheat code for building new habits. Okay, so we've covered the why and the how. But you know what? None of it means a thing without this final, crucial step, turning all this knowledge into action. This is where we bring it all home and focus on what you can do the very second this is over. This right here, this should be your new mantra. Progress, not perfection. It's all about giving yourself permission to start messy. Don't wait for the perfect plan or the perfect day, because guess what? They don't exist. The only thing that matters is taking 1 small step forward today. Now, listen up, because this might be the most important idea of this entire explainer. We usually have it all backward. We think we need to feel motivated first, and then we'll take action. It's the other way around. Action creates motivation. The simple act of just doing something, even if it's tiny, is what generates that feeling of momentum that carries you forward. So I want you to simplify. Forget about trying to overhaul your entire life this week. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to pick just 1 thing. 1 tiny, almost laughably small habit that is basically impossible to say no to. That's your starting line. And that brings us to the final and most important question. Forget about tomorrow or next week or someday. What is 1 small, positive action that you can take today to move yourself in the direction you want to go? Because that first tiny step, that's where all real change begins.